Hey, cuz, we are live, the Steve and Scott Rugby Show. I'm Steve.
And I'm Scott.
And we're finally back after about 2 years. It seems like about 2 years of being absent on our channel, Scotty.
Yeah, no, definitely, Steve.
And look, we're live, everybody. So, we might have a bit of streaming problems here, so bear with us. Can you hear me okay, Scotty?
Not really, no. Yeah, it's a mixed signal. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I can hear you perfectly. Let's have a look here. Are you on your phone?
I am.
Okay, well, let's see. Let's just see how we go.
I'll go onto. I'll take it off the Wi-Fi and I'll put it on my
Your data. Okay, everybody. While Scotty is working out his techie stuff, he'll be back very shortly. So tonight, what Scotty and I are going to do today, what a magnificent Super Rugby Aotearoa competition that we just went through. Congratulations to the Mighty Crusaders. What's that? 4 on a trot. If you include the 3 Super Rugby titles in a row plus this, by no means any easy feat. That's amazing, what the Crusaders have been able to achieve over the last 4 years. So congratulations to the Crusaders. And so today we actually the North and the South teams were. Oh, sorry. The North and the South teams were.
Question.
Yes. Hello.
Julie Tibbetts.
Hey, Julie. I'm just in a meeting. Can I call you back?
Yep, that'd be great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Sorry about that, everybody. But the North and South teams were actually announced today. And so Scotty and I want to have a chat about that and bring the names up as soon as Scotty gets back. If he's not back, it'll be moi to start us off for this episode of the Steve and Scott Rugby Show. So let's wait until he gets himself sorted out. And what I'm going to do here is that I'm actually going to bring up the squads.
Hello, Steve. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you. Can you? Yes, there you are. Yep. Are you there, Scott? Okay, so why Scott sorts out his team, why Scott sorts out his technology. Let's look at the 2 squads for the North squad and the South squad, and we're gonna go by position. So the North squad. Let's have a look at the hookers that they've chosen. They've chosen Asafa Amor from Wellington, the journeyman Ash Dixon from the Hawke's Bay, and the Aucklander Kurt Eklund, he's got a little bit of time for the Blues. Obviously showed some of his wears and tears, and got a bit of a go with the North squad, which was great. Whether he gets a run or not remains to be seen. Now let's have a look at the South squad hookers. You've got Liam Coltman, who has been in the All Black setup for a number of years. Andrew Makaleo, who is he plays for Tasman in the Mitre 10 Cup, but he's also backup hooker for the Crusaders. And also you've got Cody Taylor. So, Scott, if you can hear me, just come in when you're ready. So two strong squads with hookers. I'd have to say that the South probably have the edge in the hooker department, given the experience that the South have there with Coltman and Cody Taylor, who are your All Blacks. Really, the North hookers are still relatively young with Armour and Eklund, and the journeyman Dixon has been around a while, but obviously not represented at the highest honours. I think he was a Māori All Black, but I personally would go with the North. Forgive me there. I would personally choose the South squad hookers for this particular match as a bit of as slightly more experienced and even better than our North whānau. Let's have a look at our props here. Scott, can you hear me? You keep breaking up. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. Let's keep going here, whānau. Props for the North squad. Let's have a look here. You've got Alex Fidel, Aidan Johnston, Angus Ta'avau, Carl Tuanuku Afi, and Ofa Tuangawhasi as the props there. Up against the South squad, their props are George Bower, Alex Hodgman, Nipo Lolala, Tyrrell Lomax, and Joe Moody. Look, this is a tough one. Who's got the edge in the propping department? Because they're both very strong. Scott, if you can hear me, like to get your opinion if you can come in. If not, that's okay. But like to... Oh, that's a tough one. Because when you've got the likes of Ofa Tuangawhasi, even Ta'avau Tuanuku Afi, who, really, they've been around a little bit now, probably for the last 2, 3, 4 years, bit of experience there. But then you come to the props of Joe Moody and Nipo Lolala, and they've still got the younger Tyrrell Lomax, Alex Hodgman, and Bawa. Oh, look, I'm going to have to choose just by the slightest of margins, the absolute slightest. It'll be very, very tough, but I'll go the North, who may have the edge. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I think Tuangawhasi is having a stormer this season. Probably the form prop in the country. Having said that, along with Joe Moody, who's playing very, very well at the moment too. So just very, very slightly, I would go for the North there. Let's have a look at the locking squads in the North. You've got Scott Scrafton, Tupalutu, and Tupou Va'ai. In the locks in the South squad, Mitchell Dunshea, Selby Rickett, and Samuel Whitelock. Look, another tough call. And maybe this, with, maybe the locking department, if anything, in New Zealand is probably a bit thin at the moment. I know there's a few injuries with Barrett, and also the Chiefs guy playing in Japan that never made himself available. But maybe that's a department in New Zealand at the moment where we're not the strongest, as we have been over the years. But that's another tough one. You've got the likes of Tui Peloto, who's having a storming season, probably the best season he's ever had. And up against, somebody like Samuel Whitelock, the journeyman, really, All Black great. That's a tough one. Let's have a look here. Cousin, are you there?
Steve, can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
I'm on. Thank you. I apologize for the technical difficulty issues that I've been having, and I've been able to hear bits and pieces of what you've been able to say, and the team that you've talked about. How are we going, and where have we gotten up to?
It's been a tough choice. I'm up to the locks now.
Yes. Okay.
So if we have a look at the locks in the North squad, we've got Scott Scrafton, Paddy Tuipulotu, and Tupou Va'ai.
Yes.
Up against the South squad locks of Dunshea, Selby Rickett, and Samuel Whitelock. What's the thoughts? Who do you reckon would have the edge in the locking department there, Scott?
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that the selectors have gone with especially those the North locks there. And as we know, Brodie Retallick is currently in New Zealand. He had to come home early from Japan due to COVID. So Brodie's not involved in this one. But a couple of surprises there. Patrick Tuipulotu, he's been playing awesome. He's captained his Blues really well. He's led from the front, and he's done a really good job. And the good thing about him too was, most importantly, is he's fit. He's nice and fit, and he really led his pack really well. The other surprise inclusion, I think, is the what's his name, Tupou Va'ai. Steve, he's a player from Taranaki Bulls. He represented the Chiefs this year. He was actually an outside. He was part of the wider training squad for the Chiefs, and due to a lot of injuries, that they brought him into the squad, and he got a couple of starts for the Chiefs this year, and I was really impressed with what he had to display. Young lock who can. He's good in the line out. He jumps really well. Scott Scrafton, we know last year he was at the Blues, and this year he's gone down to the Hurricanes, and he's taken every opportunity to really shine in that Hurricanes jersey. He's a good pick, and that's good for the future of New Zealand rugby. I think, Steve. It's with the South locks that we got there, Manaki, Selby Rickett, Samuel Whitelock, and Mitch Dunshea. Three good locks there. Great to have Samuel Whitelock back in New Zealand, playing rugby back in New Zealand. A good inclusion. I was thinking maybe he might have had the nod to be our All Blacks captain, Steve. But as we see, Sam Cane's got it. But it's going to be good to see all 6 of those locks get a run next Saturday. The venue to be confirmed. It's good that we've got some depth. Like most of these guys, we heard nothing about them before the 2019 Rugby World Cup, and all of a sudden they've come to prominence. So let's expect some big things from these young locks, Steve.
So, Scotty, who are you giving the upper hand to in the locking department between the two islands?
You'd have to go. You'd really have to go with the form and consistency of the Crusaders, Steve. And as we know, the Crusaders, how good were they this year? Untouchable. So I think the South Island, the South team are going to be a dominant force. But in saying that Northern team, that they're going to put everything on the line. They're going to really push their cases to be included in whatever All Black squad that may be announced later on.
So the South Locks get the upper hand in that department. Yeah, I've got to agree.
Going on form. Yeah, going on form, Steve, definitely.
Look, and I think there's a guy that was a bit unlucky to miss out the Highlanders lock, the big tall fella. I just can't remember his name at the moment. The Māori guy.
Putty Parkinson, Steve?
Yeah, Parkinson. I thought he had a stormer of a season, but never quite got the call up. But he's got plenty of time under his belt, Scotty, and I'm sure the selectors have him penciled in sometime in the future. Let's move forward now to the loose forwards, Scotty. Let's check out first the North loose forwards. We've got Lachlan Boshier. Let's talk about him soon. Great season for a losing side, really, but played great footy. Akira, Ione, Dalton, Papali'i, Adi, the great Adi Savia, and one that has been on the lips of many people is Hoskins Satutu. They form the loose forward trio, or the loose forwards for the North. If we take a look at the loose forwards for the South, we've got Tom Christie from the Crusaders, Shannon Frizzell, what an amazing season he's had. Dylan Hunt, another great season there. Reed Prinsep finally gets some sort of rep call up, which is well done for all the hard work that he's put in over the years. And Tom Sanders, Scotty, who are you picking has the edge in the loose forwards between these two teams?
Yeah, Steve, again, it comes back to who's been dominating New Zealand rugby this year. We look back at the Crusaders. And in saying that, though, the Crusaders were doing that as a team. This is going to be a little bit different going into this game, that we've got a whole bunch of individuals who are vying for spots because it's North versus South, pretty much an All Blacks trial. The thing which I'm looking at the moment is out of the Crusaders team. Here we go. We're talking about the Crusaders again. Out of the Crusaders team, there's 16 players from the Crusaders team who are playing in this North versus South game. But just talking about a couple of individuals, Lachlan Boshier at the Chiefs this year, as my team, the Chiefs, we weren't the greatest this year, but Lachlan Boshier, every opportunity he got, wow, amazing, Steve. His turnover ability is very Richie McCaw like. He never misses a tackle. Not he never misses a tackle, but not too many runners get past Lachlan Boshier. And when he does tackle, his first option is to just steal that ball, and we saw him do that quite a bit this year in the Super Rugby competition. Akira, one thing I really like Akira Ioane, he needs to lose some of that attitude, though, that tough guy attitude that he portrays, and he gets his opportunity, whether they play him at 6 or 8. we're going to see on the day. Who else we got? Dalton Papali'i had a strong season. Deserved All Black. He's a deserved All Black. Is Dalton Papali'i. He really had a strong season this year. I think he's come in a lot fitter, a lot stronger. He's got a little bit more knowledge of the game. He's had that All Black experience. So looking for a big game from Dalton when he gets his chance. And the great Ardie Savea, right now, I'd say he's our he's one of our best loose forwards in New Zealand rugby at the moment, anywhere around the world. And like you said earlier on, Steve, Hoskins Sotutu, the guy on everyone's lips. Oh, what a player! He's originally he's a touch player. So when we see those hands that he's got nice, silky smooth hands. He's got nice footstep. He can step off his left. He can step off his right. He's got a nice fend, and the other thing is he's got a bit of mongrel to him too. So hopefully going into this game that he's injury free. He's ready to go, but yeah, I really like Hoskins Sotutu. So we've got 5 loose forwards there. There'll be 2 on the bench. 3 of them will start. I think we'll get to see all 5 of those guys in action, Steve.
A couple of great loose forward packs there, Scotty. Who are you giving the upper hand to between these 2 squads in the loose?
I think I'd have to go with, as far as individual brilliance goes, I think that North squad, the Northern loose forward pack, pound for pound, like we talked about in boxing, that the Northern team might be a little bit strong. But in saying that, we've got Tom Christie, Shannon Frizzell, Dylan Hunt, Reed Prinsep, Tom Sanders, all good players. They're all good players. So it's going to be a pretty good battle. But I think individually, pound for pound, that Northern squad might get the dominance over that Southern team, Steve.
So there's one for the North there. You can put a tick against the North there. Let's have a look at our halfbacks for both of these squads. Well, the North halfback combination is basically probably the number 1 and 2 best halfbacks in the world at the moment. Aaron Smith playing some of his best footy I've ever seen him play at the moment. Scotty and TJ, well, you get what you get from TJ, and that's consistency and just great work. I was a bit surprised by Te Ururangi. I know he has played All Blacks before, but even behind the Chiefs team, he doesn't get a lot of time. But I've given him a bit of a crack again for double T or triple T. So that halfback squad for the North look fantastic. Let's look at the South squad for the halfbacks now. Finlay Christie had a wonderful Super Rugby Aotearoa. Mitchell Drummond and Brad Weber. Scotty, what's your thoughts on this? Who do you get? Who gets the carrot here?
Yeah, like you said, Steve, that Northern halfback trio, all 3 current All Blacks. It's interesting with and we'll get to it later on when we talk about having a 5'8". We noticed that there's only one 5'8" for the Northern squad, that in Beauden Barrett. But in saying that, a couple of times this year, TJ, he's actually slotted into that number 10 position a couple of times. So maybe that's a tactical thing, only having one first 5'8" for the Northern team. But TJ and Aaron Smith, he I think this is the fittest I've seen him this year. He's a leader. Aaron Smith, and like you said, Triple T. He has to be the most unluckiest number 9 running around the world rugby behind Brad Weber at the Chiefs, even though we never won anything this year. But he's a classy halfback. He's got a nice quick pass, very similar to Aaron Smith. So he'll get some good game time on during this game. He's been playing a lot of club rugby back in the Bay of Plenty. So I think they'll be up to it. And as for the southern team, Steve, Brad Weber, great to see him. He's had a mighty season. It's kind of in with the new, in with the old, in with the new, out with the old, Steve. With some of these, Mitch Drummond, Finlay Christie had a blinder of a season. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting tussle. But Steve, I have to give this one to the northern team on the halfbacks.
Yeah, likewise, Scotty. Great halfback combination the North have. Okay, let's go to 5'8". Like you were saying, Bowden has been chosen as the only 5'8", specialist 5'8", in the North side, that is. Whereas in the South side, what a combination here, Scotty. Josh Ione, who, when he came back for the Highlanders after that injury, played a blinder of a season, and the mercurial. We used to say this about Dan Carter, right? But we can say this about Richie Mo'unga now. The mercurial Richie Mo'unga, who, boy, what can you say about this guy, Scotty? So, first of all, your comments on those 5'8", and who gets the carrot for this position, Scotty?
Yeah, it's a funny one, Steve. And as we know, in Aotearoa Super Rugby this year, Bodie playing for the Auckland Blues, he was playing at number 15 the whole season. And when in the 60th, 70th minute, sometimes he would slot into that number 10 position. Otere Black was kind of guiding the ship around there in Auckland. But Bodie, as we know, he's a world-class 10, he's also a world-class 15, Steve. So it'll be interesting to see how they run that, how they run those plays. The good thing with Bodie and TJ and with Aaron, he knows all three of those halfbacks, and they know how he plays. They know where he runs. So they won't be missing a lot there. I was really impressed with Josh Ioane this year. He was at the start of the season. He had a few injuries, Steve, and then those last few games of the season, he really impressed me that he stood up. Young kid. He's got some All Black experience. So him and the like you said, the mercurial. Richie Mo'unga gets the player of the tournament of the Aotearoa Super Rugby competition. So he's a class actor, Steve. Richie Mo'unga. It's a tough one. Who are you going to go with on this one, Steve? North or south?
Yeah, I'm going south, Scotty. I just think they. Yeah, too good with Ione and Mo'unga up against Bowden Barrett, who hasn't played a lot of team really, and they don't have anybody to back him up. You know, TJ is just he's a halfback playing first five, but when you've got the lights of Mo'unga and backing up his Ione, I think the South squad are in very, very good shape with being led around that park, Scotty. It might ultimately determine who wins this football match, by the way.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm leaning towards Richie Mo'unga and Josh Ioane to really guide that South pack. But in saying that, you know how, and we've seen it so often that Bodie Barrett can just create something out of nothing. One thing I find with Bodie, though, Steve, is when the pressure's really on and it's really tight, sometimes Bodie goes a little bit missing. But let's see how they go next week.
Scotty, let's get into the midfield. It's very, very interesting. So they're moving Rico out into the midfield. He played for the Blues at midfield, hasn't played international at midfield, so they're obviously keen to have a look at him. Anton Leonard-Brown, we know what we get from ALB, and the young Umanga Jensen, Peter Umanga Jensen, gets a bit of a Guernsey. Keeping in mind that the likes of Lau Mape, there's a few injuries that are not here. So Umanga Jensen has a shot, which is, well, good for him. The South squad, Scotty, we've got Eno. I really like Braden Eno. I think he's a All Black in waiting. I really like him. Lester Afanganuku, this guy's unbelievable. Love to see him play league, but good to see him in playing union. Jack Goodhue, very solid, and C.L. Tompkinson from Otago. Bit of a surprise there, Scotty, but give us your thoughts on the midfielders and who gets the carrot for this one, Scotty.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to go past that south midfield combination. But in saying that, Rico Ioane, he hasn't really put a foot out of place playing in that 13 jersey for the Blues this year, and the opportunities that he's got. It'll be good to see Rico really get tested against real quality opposition that he's coming up against, in particular that of all those Crusaders players. So Anton Leonard-Brown, consistent, Mr. Consistency in a losing squad this year. He stood up. He was consistent. One person I do like, Steve, and I took a bit of interest in him, was Peter Umanga. Strong ball runner. He has something. He has qualities that I think some of our other New Zealand midfield backs don't have. He's strong. He stands in the tackle, Steve. He holds the ball up. He's a uncanny kind of a player. He's got something different to kind of show the selectors and show the rugby community who he is, and to stand up and whether he's worthy or not to wear an All Blacks jersey. Exciting. Looking forward to seeing him run out there next Saturday. Steve, Braden Eno, Lester Fainga'anuku, Jack Goodhue, the writings on the wall, what they've done this year with the Crusaders. They create something out of nothing.
They do.
And they're so good. They're so consistent. They just keep pulling out. And C.O. Tompkinson from the Highland, he had a good year. He's quite a strong player. Another person who's kind of saying, hey, guys, I'm here too. I'm ready to step up and give it a crack in the midfield. Steve, I'd have to give this one to the Southern squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm with you, Scotty. I will go Southern, but it's a tight one, isn't it? It's a really hard one, the midfielders. Well, of course. So the midfielders get the Guernsey for that one. Last but not least, let's have a look at these outside backs for both of these islands. So let's first start off with the North Island. We've got the great Caleb Clark. Man, he could spend many years in a black jersey. Mitchell Hunt. I love watching Mitchell Hunt play. He's one of those guys that can almost do anything, right?
Yes.
Look, D-Mac. Yeah, look, he had a tough season behind. Well, let's be fair to the Chiefs. The first half of Super Rugby, they won four games. Was really killing it, and then they to Super Rugby Aotearoa, lost a few really close games, and then towards the back end of the season just caved in. D-Mac struggled behind that, but he tried his best. But you know what you get with Damien McKenzie is just solid. Sevu Reece, great to see him. Mark Talia, Scotty, I'll get your comment on Mark Talia, but had a storming season for the Blue. Versus the outside backs of the South, Geordie Barrett. Well, what an amazing Super Rugby Aotearoa this bloke had. And finally, I've always asked myself, when's the real Geordie Barrett going to stand up? Well, I think we've just seen him stand up. Yep. George Bridge, solid. That's why he's the All Black winger. And the kid that is up and coming Will Jordan. Scotty, outside backs, talk to me about your thoughts and who gets the Guernsey on this one, Scotty.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one, actually, Steve. The outside backs, like you said, Caleb Clark comes from fine pedigree. Does Caleb Clark? We know his dad, Ronnie Clark, the strong running midfielder in the All Blacks in the 90s. Caleb Clark, like you said, and I believe it too, he could be wearing a black jersey for a long time. And if he's not going to be wearing that black jersey, some really cashed up expensive European team are going to snaffle him if he doesn't get in the All Black squad, and he's going to play a lot of rugby, a lot of international rugby around the world if we don't do him right by giving him a black jersey at some stage. Steve, Mitch Hunt had a strong season, had a nice solid season, consistent, had some All Black experience, great player. Damien McKenzie. I'm a fan of Damien McKenzie, but some faults that I think that he had this year, he tried to take on too much, Steve. He's not a big bloke at all. He's quite a small bloke, but he's very hard to stop. He's very hard to tackle. He's very hard to put down. But when you're trying to take on, what does he weigh? Maybe 90 kilos, 92 kilos, if that. Trying to run into these, trying to run into these 110 kilo outside backs and these 100 kilo outside backs, and he gets smashed. But the thing is with Damien, he gets back up and he keeps going. But as we know, last year he was ruled out of the World Cup because of injury. So let's hope he can stay injury free and not run at too many big blokes.
By the way, Scotty, just to remind everybody, Damien McKenzie is actually a Southland boy, born and bred a boy. But the team is actually chosen by the first the NPC team that you play for.
Correct.
So he first represented the Waikato team. He is chosen for the North, but good Southern boy, Damien McKenzie. Scotty,
he is. He and his brother Marty, good Southern boys. Another one who, Steve, we talk about the Crusaders. We talk about Canterbury Rugby. He's another one who slipped the net and wandered off and played rugby somewhere else in New Zealand. But the other one, Steve, Sever Reece, he had a solid season. He had a solid season out on the way. He's so hard. He's one of those tricky players that I'm not a card player, but I know what a poker face is. You think he's going to do something, but he'll do something else. He's like that. It deserves his black jersey. There, he's consistent. He had a good season, and I really want to see him play in this game. He's going to the last one there for the Northern squad. Outside back, Mark Talia. Steve, who is this guy? Has just come out of nowhere. Played for North Harbour. He has a South African mother, I believe, and a Samoan, a South African father, and a Samoan mother. So he's eligible to play for South Africa if he wants to, but he's never really gone over there and experienced playing rugby in South Africa. But he was pretty good this year, Steve. I was really impressed with Mark Talia. He offers something different to New Zealand rugby too. Hopefully he has a good game against the Southern boys. Steve, Geordie Barrett, best 15 in the game this year, honestly, by far, hands down. Geordie Barrett, the best number 15 in New Zealand rugby, and I haven't seen a lot of world rugby, but I've seen the Australian Super Rugby comp. Geordie Barrett has to be the best 15 in the game at the moment. He's got a long boot. I was quite disappointed in Geordie this year against my team, the Chiefs. He beat us twice. He's kind of single-handedly beat the Chiefs twice. He's got a huge boot on him. So, yeah, be good to see Geordie really match it with the other players.
It wasn't by any fluke that the Hurricanes actually started. I think they won 5 on a trot or 4 on the trot. when Geordie come back into the team.
Correct. That's right.
He's a clutch player. He's a big time player, and he stood up. He stood up in Super Rugby Aotearoa, Scotty.
Yeah, he did. He did see it in the form 15 in New Zealand. Yeah, it'd be nice to see Geordie really give it a go. Give him he's lining up again against his brother Bodie. This time they're playing North and South, not the Blues and the Crusaders and the Hurricanes. But that'll be a good matchup. Georgie Bridge, Mr. And again, he's another one of these Mr. Consistency. He's got X Factor. One thing I like about Georgie Bridge, he has X Factor. He's safe. He can tackle. And he can beat players. He can beat players on the outside, and he's got good hands too. A good winger has to have good hands to know when to pass, and he knows when to pass when he's got someone on the outside of him. Will Jordan, wow, how good is Will Jordan? Steve, last year we saw him running around for the Crusaders and for the Tasman Marcos, and wow, he is such a good player. He's got that kind of acceleration that I think all outside backs dream of having. Will Jordan, whether he gets an All Black jersey this year, I don't know. But yeah, it's really exciting, Steve. This is going to be a really exciting tussle with the outside backs, actually with all 23 players on both teams. Who do I give this one to, Steve? I'd have to, I'd have to go with that Southern team again, Steve. I think the Southern team are kind of dominating the Northern team, but like I say, pound for pound, there's some individuals who are pretty talented in that Northern team, Steve.
Yeah. Well, so just a few mentions, Scotty. So unavailable due to injury is Dane Coles, Scotty Barrett, Sam Cane, our All Black captain, is not available, and the great Nani Laumapi. So, we've missed some of those greats out of this game, which is giving some of the other players an opportunity to stand up and show their wares, Scotty. So. The big question is, Scotty, who's going to win this football match? And this far out, can you give a prediction of a score?
Yeah, it's going to be a really tight game. It's going to be a really tight game, Steve. Some of those players, they're going to make it a tight game because there's quite a few young kids on here who want to step up. They want to show the All Black selectors what they've got at the clutch times in the bigger games. Super Rugby was a big competition. This is kind of stepping up another little level, playing this North-South game. It's a hard one, Steve, to predict who's going to win this game because there's talent in both squads. There's All Black experience and experience in both squads. I can't. 9 days out from the game, Steve, I can't tell you who's going to win this game, but I can't wait for it to happen.
And you can't even really give home ground advantage to any of these because they play each other all the time in all of our grounds. So you can't even give the North. By the looks of it, Scotty, it looks like that this game will be relocated to Wellington. So you can't even give them an advantage in this game, given that a lot of the South boys play Wellington all the time, or indeed are from the North or from Wellington. So, yeah.
The thing, Steve, with New Zealand teams, as we saw in the 2020 Aotearoa Super Rugby competition, they just smash each other. It doesn't matter if you're an All Black. It doesn't matter if you've been in the country and you've been dominating rugby in New Zealand. It doesn't matter who you are. New Zealand rugby players, it's just all or nothing. You put everything in it. You go out, you smash the teammate. afterwards you're still mates off the field. But New Zealand rugby players, they go out there to win at all costs, and doesn't matter who you are. If you're an All Black, doesn't matter. And I think we're going to see a lot of that come next week. It's not desperation times, but it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome, Steve.
Looking forward to that match, guys. Scotty, I'm going to give you the last word about Super Rugby Aotearoa, what you think, and maybe close us up on your thoughts on the Crusaders.
Yeah, Steve, I was really happy with what I saw. 2020 has been a year of a bit of pain, a bit of heartache for everyone around the world, but as soon as we got the okay that Super Rugby Aotearoa was going to go ahead, and I was jumping for joy. I think yes, and I think the best club rugby and world rugby we got to see with Super Rugby Aotearoa. A lot of competition. There was a heck of a lot of competition, Steve, and I think, Steve, moving forward to Super Rugby 2021, whatever way that New Zealand Rugby want to go, if they continue to keep 5 New Zealand teams and maybe 2 or 3 Australian teams, or I'd really like to see some competition come out of the Australian teams, and maybe an Pacific Island team in next year's competition. But you have to take this year. You have to take your hats off to the Crusaders. They were awesome. The Crusaders were very. How would you say that? They're unbeatable. Not unbeatable, but they were consistent. They had a lot of passion, which is what they do all the time. They're pumping out new players. Some of these other new young players that they've been able to bring through and blood through their system. Steve, the good thing is, I hope a lot of that core Crusaders team, like we've seen in the last maybe 10, 15 years, a lot of that core Super Rugby team automatically just switch over into the All Black system and keep that pace up. So Crusaders, yeah, it's so good this year. As much as I'm not a fan of the Crusaders, I love to watch them, and I love to watch them when they win those big games. Looking forward to this game coming up next week, Steve. It's really hopefully the actual game gets to go ahead with all these COVID issues that are going on at the moment, Steve.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Scotty. It's been good to get back into the rugby circles with you again, and to all of our followers out there. We'll be talking more footy as we move forward, and we might even be bringing in a bit of the league too with the NRL going on here. We're getting to the pointy end of the season, and some of those teams are doing good. But everybody out there, Fase 4, have a good night, everybody. Steve and Scott Rugby Show, we're out.
Thanks, guys.